So, what is ETP, you may be wondering? By the end of this video, you'll know what ETP is and how you can help the wonderful company take advantage of this important program. You'll learn what forms of trainings are covered and which ones aren't, and the steps you must take in order to be eligible for free money. You'll also learn how to download, print, and properly fill out class rosters, and the process that happens after you turn those rosters in. Let's start by explaining what ETP is. ETP, or the Employment Training Panel, is a state of California workforce training and economic development program established in 1982. Principally funded through a state corporate payroll tax paid by every business, the ETP returns a portion of those tax dollars to employers that provide non-mandatory, customized training to workers. The idea behind ETP is that these training incentives help keep California businesses competitive, productive, and profitable by supporting skill development, job creation, and retention. ETP is basically free money. The typical reimbursement for training is as much as $15 to $18 per hour per trainee. The wonderful company has been taking advantage of ETP since 2015 and recently completed an $86,000 contract. The current ETP contract amount for the wonderful company is $99,960 for training provided through spring 2019. How do we get reimbursed? All we have to do is fill out attendance rosters, and that's where you come in, and submit them to the state. What forms of training are covered, you might ask? The state will reimburse the wonderful company for training led by employees as well as training purchased from vendors, as long as the trainers are California residents. The training can be delivered in the classroom or shoulder to shoulder. Examples of acceptable training topics include continuous improvement, computer skills, and manufacturing skills. We have an official course catalog that details which courses are eligible for reimbursement. Trainings that are already required by the state are not eligible for reimbursement through ETP. Those include sexual harassment, orientation, and safety. If you are unsure whether or not a training qualifies for reimbursement, please contact the Learning and Organizational Development Team at Wonderful HQ. Training provided by and to all wonderful business units and shared services are included in this contract, except for Palm Wonderful, Wonderful Pistachios and Almonds, and Wonderful Citrus. These business units have their own ETP contracts with the state. The wonderful company ETP contract only reimburses training hours for California-based employees who work for the wonderful company, Fiji, Justin, Teleflora, Wonderful Sales, and other organizations within the wonderful company umbrella. To take advantage of this free money, rosters must be submitted by May 15, 2019. So, what do you have to do? The most important thing to remember is to fill out rosters, also known as sign-in sheets, for any and all trainings, and submit them to the Learning and OD team. We manage the contract and can identify which trainings are eligible for funding. Rosters must be filled out correctly, so they are accepted by the state for the reimbursement. Being a state program, there are strict rules about how to fill out the rosters. This video will now show you how to do that. First, you need to find, download, and print your rosters. Access the Learning and Organizational Development SharePoint site to download blank rosters and view a sample roster, the course catalog, and instructions. Print a roster for each day of your training. Fill in as much of the top portion of the roster as you can before class. It's also best if you pre-fill the roster with trainees' names and employee numbers if you have them, so the information is legible and consistently written. All trainee names should be typed or clearly written with their last name first, comma, followed by their first name. The roster is then to be signed by all trainees and instructors, regardless of whether the trainees are California residents. Why? The maximum trainer-to-trainee ratio for each class is 1 to 20, and the state may confirm that. So don't just have California residents sign the sheet. All participants must sign the rosters. If you have more than 20 trainees, please print 2 sheets and ensure you have a second trainer sign the rosters. You will fill in both trainers' names as well as the names of the additional trainees on the second page of the roster. The first page of the roster should be labeled 1 of 2, and the second page should be labeled 2 of 2. Check that the class information is labeled correctly according to the current course catalog. If you are doing a critical thinking skills training, the class name would be Critical Thinking Skills. The type number refers to the module. So here, you would want to type 1.1. In this example, the class number would be 100. You will enter the date here by entering a 2-digit month, 2-digit day, and 2-digit year. Enter the start time and end time here. The number of hours the training takes will be entered here. If you have a working lunch, that lunch hour can be added as training hours, but make sure to note it as working lunch with an asterisk next to it. For example, you would write 7, asterisk, working lunch if the class was 6 hours in length, but the lunch hour was a working lunch. If the lunch hour was not a working lunch, you would simply write 6. If there are errors, do not use whiteout and do not scribble out the error so it's illegible. Simply use a line to cross the errors out because the changes need to be visible to comply with the state's rules. When the class is complete, please drop your signed roster in an inter-office mail envelope and send it to the L&OD team, 8th floor of Wonderful HQ. You must send the original roster, not a copy. At this point, the L&OD team takes it from there. We collect the signed rosters, fill in any missing employee ID numbers, and maintain a binder of original rosters. The rosters will be scanned and sent to an ETP consultant once a month. The submitted rosters are then placed in an ETP binder. Once our ETP consultant receives the rosters and payroll data from the L&OD coordinator and the HRIS specialist, they conduct payroll audits to ensure trainee eligibility. They then upload the data to the state server. A State of California representative reviews the documents for approval. Once approved, the state mails a check to the Wonderful Company. The Wonderful Company receives the funds in 3 payments over the course of the 2-year contract. The money received goes to the bottom line of the business, not to the individual business units or shared services. The state will conduct periodic audits and ask to speak with the course participants on occasion, so it's important that all information, such as class location, type and number of hours, date, and trainee information is accurately documented. ETP is a method of receiving a return on investment for training the Wonderful Company is already providing our employees. Filling out the rosters correctly is the key component to ensuring we receive this funding. Thank you for your help making this happen.